everybody. It is Tracy from Launch Tech Made Easy. How are you today? I have to say thanks quickly to everyone who endured the bumps of last week's video if you watched it. I don't know what's going on in this country with the roads, but man, oh man, did we hit some bumpy roads between Tennessee and Minneapolis. I mean, stuff was falling off the walls of the trailer. That's how rough the roads were. So if you saw last week's video and I was bouncing all over in the front seat, that's why. I hope nobody got car sick. So I'm glad that you're here today. I'm going to I'm going to finish or do the next session of the series I'm doing on how and why and we got ourselves going on the road. And for right now, our traveling is done. We're in Minnesota for the summer because honestly, there is no better place to spend a summer than in Minnesota. The humidity is low, the scenery is really pretty, and we have lakes everywhere. I think that might be what I've missed the most is not having lakes all over the place when we go camping. My favorite place in Minnesota is actually Grand Marais and the Boundary Waters. And we were just up there last weekend dropping off our youngest son, and he's going to be a camp counselor up there this summer. So that was really fun. If you've ever been here to Minnesota, pop a comment in and tell me your favorite spot. Even Minneapolis is a beautiful city. It's known as the City of Lakes because we have lakes right in the middle of our uptown area, and they're surrounded by parkland. So that's really, really fun. You can bike around them and rent canoes and things. So that's my Minnesota tourism pitch for today. Okay, so last week, as I said, I talked about why we decided to hit the road full-time last September. My husband and I, in September of last year, left Minnesota, and we just came back last weekend. We've been gone for about 9 months. And today I'm going to explain a little bit about how we did it and what we learned along the way. So just to recap, last June when our daughter, our middle child, graduated, we realized that if we hit the road, we could be closer to Kelty, and he's our youngest child, for his senior year of high school in Tennessee. Now, you'll have to go back and watch last week's video for the whole full story on how that all worked. But the bottom line is, for years, we had dreamed of traveling full-time with the kids. We thought about doing it, before they entered high school. And suddenly last year, what had been an idea in the back of our mind for years actually became closer to reality. But first, we had to figure out what to do with our house and all of our stuff. So we started with the kids. That doesn't quite sound right. What I mean to say is, because the kids were not the first thing to go. They did go, but they weren't the first thing to go. We started by having the kids pack up their rooms. That sounds better. One was already in college, one was moving into an apartment, and one had already been living away from home at a boarding school for a couple of years. So they all already had what they needed to live. And I got to tell you, the kid moving into the apartment really scored big. She got a lot of furniture and a lot of kitchen stuff for her apartment. She's very well set up for a first apartment. So I gave each of the kids 2 great big plastic totes with sealing lids on them, and I told them that any keepsakes that they wanted that weren't necessarily things they would need in the next few years, they could keep as long as it fit in those 2 totes. Now, I'd always been kind of a nut about the kids keeping their rooms decluttered. I had pretty much a clutter-free house when the kids were growing up as much as I could. So this wasn't a new concept to them, and the process actually went really, really fast, and it was a lot easier than I expected. They didn't have any trouble doing that at all. So then we rented mini storage, and we packed up all of the things that we weren't going to need while we traveled, but that I wanted to keep at least until I decided if we were going to be on the road permanently. There are a few things that were I had memories around, or that would just cost a lot of money to replace. And until we made the decision we were absolutely going to love being on the road, I didn't want to get rid of and have to replace those things. Things like my good china, which now will become my everyday dishes if we ever do live back in the house, and some other cool things that we've collected in our travels, stuff like that. A lot of stuff went to Goodwill. And then whatever was left were the things that I really was hoping we could sell at a massive estate sale that we planned to have. But first, we needed to sell the house. And I jokingly refer to our house as an albatross. It's a cool house. It was built in the late 70s, early 80s, and it actually took 2 years to build because the previous owners were really, really picky. But it needed updating in a big way, and no one wanted 5 acres worth of yard work. Heck, we didn't want 5 acres worth of yard work anymore. So that's one of the reasons we wanted out. So after months on the market, we decided to see if we could rent it out. I mean, even if just for a few months, because it wasn't selling. And if you remember, the Super Bowl was here last January 2018. So my hope was maybe there was someone that needed to come into town for a few months to help organize the Super Bowl, and we could at least rent it out long enough so we could spend some time in Tennessee with Kelty. And it felt like a big long shot, but I called a company called Renters Warehouse and asked them to come out and see if this was a house that could even be rented. I thought they were just going to laugh at me. But lo and behold, the nice lady we work with told us there was definitely a market for our type of home. And within a week, we had 7 showings and 4 really strong rental candidates. Now, I have to say, Renters Warehouse is pretty amazing because we were able to look at employment and credit history and do background checks of anyone who was interested. And then based on that info, we chose renters we thought were going to be a really good fit. The entire process, start to finish with them, took about 10 days. And we found dream renters, the best renters. And we said there's such great people that we've now become pretty good friends. So now the house was rented. We were free to have our sale. The entire house, our 3-stall garage, and our 40 by 40 pole barn became a gigantic merchandised store. We didn't just throw things on tables. We had departments. Kitchen stuff stayed in the kitchen. Bedroom stuff stayed in bedrooms. Tools and yard and that kind of stuff, that was all in the barn. We had a fully staffed checkout area with empty bags and boxes for buyers that needed help carrying their stuff to their car. We had carry-out boys. We had massive amounts of help so that nothing was stolen. I placed ads on estate sale and garage sale websites. I think it was estatesales.net or something like that, and garagesales.com maybe. I bought a bunch of signs. I placed ads in all of the local papers. So it was a lot of work. And we decided not to hire a real estate company. We decided not to hire an estate sale company. I didn't think that we really had that much stuff to cover all the fees that they would charge. And by the time I actually looked into hiring one, I'd already done a lot of the work that was part of the services that they provided. I'd already sorted through a lot of things and merchandised a lot of things. So I decided that it wasn't worth it for us to pay that fee. But the reality is, not only do they merchandise your junk, they provide the staff to help run the sale. They do the checkout process. But best of all, they haul away everything that doesn't sell. Like they bring in the dumpster and do all of that. And that is a huge amount of work. Because when the sale is all over, it was so much work to do, you just don't want to have to look at that stuff again and decide, is it going to Goodwill or is it going to the dump? And then you got to take it to the dump or take it to Goodwill. So I would have gladly paid somebody to do that for me. Now, while the house was being turned into a giant store, we lived in our fifth wheel in the driveway. It was not there during the sale, but we lived in it because it is so depressing and draining to live in a house that is completely a mess all of the time. And it also becomes impossible. Like our kitchen, all of my kitchen stuff was out of the cabinets and had been merchandised on the counters. I'll include a picture in the post this week. I couldn't have cooked in the kitchen if I'd wanted to because some of the critical things had been removed and it was just a mess. So if you ever do this, come up with a different place to live so that at the end of the day, when you get done working at the house and setting things out, you have a place that you can go and get away from everything. So really, that's it. That's how we sold everything, all of our stuff. And you know what? It felt fantastic. Anything we really loved either made it into the RV or it was packed away to be stored. And the truth was there was very little that we kept. once I kind of got going through everything, it was really easy to get rid of things. But the crazy thing is, of this whole process, the whole hit the road full-time adventure, the thing people ask me about the most is what we did with our stuff. Because we all have too much stuff. And when you have to put a 50-cent price tag on something that you paid, $25 or $50 for, you get a really good perspective on how much money we waste on stuff. So that's our story. Next week, I'm going to wrap up this little mini series with a behind the scenes look at how we decided on the right travel setup for us and how we both, Brett and I, how we both work and live in such a tiny space. So if you have questions on today's video or for next week's video, go ahead and pop them right below here or email me at tracy@launchtechmadeeasy.com. And I'll see you right back here next week at 2 p.m. on Tuesday for the next installment in the series. Bye-bye.